Shalom. The major element of this week's Torah portion, Vayechi, which is the final Torah portion of the book of Bereshit, Genesis, is devoted to the patriarch Yaakov's departing blessings to his sons. These verses are just magnificent, they're towering prose, and also for the most part, they're closed. They're somewhat mysterious. Are these blessings of Yaakov to his sons just that, blessings, or are they visions of the future? This question is actually debated among the great Torah scholars. I mean, if they're brachot, blessings, then what about Reuven and Shimon and Levi? They were not given words of blessing, but rather admonition. Also, Rashi points out, based on the words in verse 28, and this is what he spoke to them, and he blessed them, Rashi points out that at first, Yaakov spoke with all of them, and only afterwards he included every one of them in one blessing. But the nature of this blessing is not clear. Rashi maintains that each blessing given to each tribe actually applies to all of them. Each blessing is comprehensive even though it was stated individually. So the question remains, what is the purpose of these blessings? What is so special about them? What is their nature? Why is it that some of the sons were given criticism and others praise? And why were they given individual blessings if afterwards they were given a collective one? And of course, as in every area of Torah knowledge and understanding, there are so many levels of meaning and depth. Here, there is the prophetic side, there is the mystical side. But today, I want to concentrate on one particular thought. See, of all the commentaries that weigh in on this subject, and hundreds that have discussed it throughout the ages, only the famed Abarbanel has a comprehensive approach. Don Yitzchak Abarbanel, or Abarbanel, 1437 to 1508, was born in Lisbon, Portugal. He was a Jewish statesman, philosopher, Bible commentator. His unique approach to our question demonstrates how all the blessings serve one united purpose. According to his understanding, he explains that everything Yaakov said to all the sons was all for the purpose of clarifying one thing: who would be king, and to whom would sovereignty be given. Because Yaakov, saw prophetically that one of his sons would be king, and he sought to check who was worthy. He really knew, but he wanted to demonstrate. So, according to Abarbanel, he mentions the attributes of each tribe, neither for the purpose of blessing, nor for rebuke, nor to foretell the future, but simply to establish who among them is worthy of kingship. The most worthy attributes from all aspects he found only in Yehudah, for four basic reasons. First of all of the brothers admit to Yehudah's superiority, and none envy him, as witnessed by the verse. It's verse 8, "For Judah, as for you, your brothers will acknowledge you." Secondly, he succeeds in his battles until all his enemies turn from him and flee, as in the words of this blessing, "Your hand will be at the nape of your enemies." Thirdly, as the verse states, "From the prey, my son, you withdrew." He is morally and spiritually superior to his brothers, possessing none of the restlessness of water, for example, exhibited by Reuven, none of the weapons of violence of Shimon and Levi. Yaakov is alluding to the fact that Yehudah's hands are not stained with blood. On the contrary, it was he who saved Yosef from being killed when he convinced the others by saying, "What profit be there if we kill our brother?" Fourthly, as the words testify, he crouched, rested like a lion. And like a lion, who will rouse him? Yehudah's power is consistent. He crouches in position like a lion, and none dare to unseat him. So according to this understanding of the great Abarbanel, these four reasons are sufficient to establish that, as verse 10 tells us, the scepter shall not depart from Yehudah, nor a scholar from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of peoples. We'll see soon what this verse exactly means. Now the truth is Historically, Yehudah was always the leader of his brothers in every situation. At the sale of Yosef, his brothers listened to his advice. When the brothers met with Yosef in his guise of Pharaoh's second-in-command, was it not Yehudah who spoke first? And when Yaakov did not want Benjamin, to accompany the others to Egypt, it was Yehudah who influenced his father to change his mind. When they went to Egypt, it was Yehudah who was sent first. Later, at the splitting of the sea, Nachshon, the son of Aminadav, the prince of the tribe of Yehudah, was the first to step into the sea. In the desert encampment, the flag of Yehudah, stationed in the east, was the first to move. Later, at the dedication of the altar in the tabernacle, it was Nachshon, the son of Aminadav, prince of the tribe of Yehudah, who was the first to bring an offering. And the names of those who will inherit a portion of the land, together with Elazar the priest and Yoshua ben Nun. The first name mentioned is Kalev ben Yefunah of the tribe of Yehudah. And in the apportion of the land, the children of Yehudah inherited first. Much, much later, in the days of King Saul, when he counted the people to go and save Yavesh Gilad, he numbered all of Israel together as 300,000, and he counted Yehudah separately as 30,000. And so too when he counted the people to go and wage war against Amalek. Afterwards, David was appointed king, and since then, the governance has not departed from Yehudah until Shiloh comes, a reference, according to some, as we shall see later, to the Messianic king. Also, in the era of Israel's exile from her land, the heads of her exile in the time of the Second Temple was a prince of Yehudah, the head of the Sanhedrin. So Abarbanel concludes by stating that today as well, there's no question that Israel's leaders must be descendants of David, descendants of Yehudah. In fulfillment of the verse, the scepter shall not depart from Yehudah, nor the scholar from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of peoples. So according to this explanation, Yaakov's words are an explanation of the reasoning of why the kingdom does not apply to any other tribe. And what singles out Yehudah for this, Reuven, admittedly, is the firstborn, but his restlessness disqualifies him, not only in the incident regarding his father's wife, whatever it was that happened, but in the tribes turning their backs, as it were, on the land of Israel by choosing their inheritance on the other side of the Jordan. Shimon and Levi, after the incident in Shechem, forget it. Also, they had a major portion in the sale of Yosef, and so on. Others, Yaakov disqualifies not because of any inherent sin, but for practical reasons. For example, the seafaring Zevulun is a businessman, and businessmen shouldn't rule. Yisachar works the earth, Dan, Gad, and all the others have specific reasons that disqualify them. Yosef, for all his great qualities, was envied by his brothers. Ultimately, Yaakov does bless them all together, binding them together and calling them the tribes of Israel, comparing them to branches emanating from one root. Blesses them all with one comprehensive blessing, and this is what their father spoke to them and blessed them, we read. But he had already established that Yehudah would be king over them, and that they would humble themselves before him, and they accepted that upon themselves for all time. This is not so simple. There's something about the nature of the very name Yehudah that bears close examination. First of all, we see right away in his name of Yud, He, Vav, Daled, He, that Hashem's name, the holy name of God, is in his name. Yehudah's name contains the letters Yud, He, and Vav, and He of God's name. But yet the root of this word, the root of Yehudah's name is the concept of acknowledgement. Modeh, lahodot, hodaya. This is admission, acknowledgement, and also thanks. And there's a great secret here, because it is after Yehudah's name that we are all called Yehudim today. The Jews, Yehudim, are called after Yehudah. This is the root of our national identity. Why? It's actually quite remarkable. It's all based on Genesis 38 and verse 26, of all places, that after Tamar was being taken out to be burned, and she said, by the man to whom these belong, I am with child. Identify, if you please, whose are this signet, this cloak, and this staff. Judah recognized, and he said, she is right. It's from me. And that act of admission, that ability to acknowledge, that's why we are all called Yehudim. So what an amazing man. But here is the real amazing idea. He was just that, just as every man is. Even the Messiah is only a man. So what's this word Shiloh? Until the coming of Shiloh, hundreds of explanations have been given. Some say it's the name of a city, some say it's the first name of the Messiah. Truthfully, it's an allusion to the word Shilia, same letters, meaning placenta, afterbirth. The word placenta, of course, refers to the flattened, circular organ in the uterus of pregnant eutherian mammals, nourishing and maintaining the fetus through the umbilical cord. It's also called afterbirth because, in normal circumstances, it comes out after the birth of the child. So let's look at that verse again, verse 10. The scepter shall not depart from Judah, nor the scholar from between his feet, until Shiloh comes, and to him will be a gathering of peoples. There's a very profound lesson here, and how fitting to end the book of Genesis with this thought. The Mashiach that we are waiting for is a regular man, just like you and me, albeit a great man, the greatest man ever even, but a man. And as Harry Chapin put it in Cats in the Cradle, my child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way. The usual way, and all that that implies. So the use of this word Shiloh for Shilia, afterbirth, means just that. Born of a woman, the usual way, like every birth, the whole 9 yards, placenta included. Born of a woman, meaning totally human in every way. This is a huge cornerstone of the Torah. That we are not waiting for God incarnate. Yehuda was a great man, very human, and so is his descendant, the Mashiach. We're not waiting for God, who, by the way, is waiting for us. We're waiting for a real man. But another interesting thought, as Rabbeinu Bechaya points out, in Yaakov's blessing to Yehuda, Yaakov uses every letter of the Hebrew alphabet with the exception of one, the 7th letter, the letter Zion. There is no letter Zion in the blessing of Yehuda. This alludes, he says, to the idea that this coming kingdom of Israel will neither be based nor dependent on weaponry. Weaponry in Hebrew are called klei zayin, implements of weapons, the very same name as the letter. For he writes, his rulership will not be established through the sword, but by truth and justice. As we read in Zechariah chapter 4 and verse 6, the prophet declares, not through army and not through strength, but through my spirit, said Hashem, master of legions. So this Mashiach, descendant of Yehuda, is a regular flesh and blood man, complete with placenta, but a man who can change the world without firing a shot. And this is this amazing legacy of Yehuda. Yehuda's legacy of greatness to the exclusion of all others comes from his tremendous attributes of acknowledging Hashem. And it's Yaakov's blessing, vision, and promise all rolled into one. He received it from the God of his fathers. He's setting the stage, as this parsha closes, setting the stage while yet in Egypt for the final and ultimate redemption.